You ready for this?
Oh, yeah.
Don't get weird, but...
What are you doing?
No, don't look under.
What are you doing? When you dive under the table and say, don't get weird.
Okay. It's in its box.
Oh, God. Oh, fucking hell. Oh, I just kicked my ankle. Oh, that thing. Oh, you know, just when you hit the edge of a bone on. Yeah. It's a bit constricted and confined in here.
Yeah, it is a little bit.
Maybe need a bigger one. When we get up over 17 views, maybe we'll expand the studio.
Just build it out into the next room.
Something more palatial.
Maybe we'll get rid of the dripping tap noise. Hang on. Yeah. What is that?
I think it's hitting the top of my hot water system outside. Yeah, it's very prestigious arrangement we've got here.
I fucked up the camera angle.
What have you done?
I'm just getting you looking really good because I know that. I know you like that.
Do you think that you're different now that you're married? Do you feel any? Look at you. Look at you. Wowza.
It feels good, Craig. You should try it, mate.
Yeah. I'm a bit old. Is there not an age limit on marriage?
Well, Jeffrey Edelston's been married about 5 times.
It's worked out well for him. Fucking hell. Jeez.
Episode 13, we're here.
Yeah, we are.
Today, we're going to just keep it around one thought.
Brief.
And that thought is...
Thought is...
the stories we tell ourselves. But, after that...
Right.
I know last week you said...
I want next episode for you to bring something that means a lot to you, that's probably a bit weird, or something that you love.
I actually don't really have many things that are meaningful as such. I don't really keep a lot of shit.
Really?
But I do have one thing that I've kept for maybe 3 years.
Oh, wow, that's so historical. Was that like a fucking hamburger from McDonald's under your bed?
That'd still be in good condition.
Brand new.
No, this is an invention that I'm going to show you without the box, so you just get what it is.
The thing, and I've got to figure it out.
Exactly.
Right.
But we'll get to that.
Will I be able to, am I going to look like a dumbass? Probably.
That's hopefully what will happen.
All right,
so I just want to sort of delve into all aspects of storytelling.
Yes.
One of them, for me, storytelling is like, I sometimes realise when I'm in the middle of the story that I'm telling myself.
Yes.
I'm just like, how the fuck have I got to that?
Why do I think like this?
Why have I made this bad situation and given it this story to make it okay in my work? Like I'm blown away all the time by this stupid shit I tell myself.
Yeah. Well, the funny thing about all of this is that we don't even, like we intellectually know that we do it. We know that we tell ourselves stories and we give things meaning, but we don't understand that there is no universal reality, that we all inhabit our own reality, and we all exist and function and kind of inhabit a physical 3-dimensional, I can see it, touch it, feel it world. But where we live, where we create meaning, is in our head. And I think that's one of the biggest challenges in terms of creating, it sounds wanky, doesn't it? But creating your best life is to figure out what that means. So we see some people who, for example, would be in a situation that society might say, wow, they've got it all. He's good looking, she's beautiful, they've got this house, they've got 2 kids and 2 golden retrievers and the dream job and the dream everything and da-da-da-da. And they've ticked all the boxes, or he's an Olympic athlete, or she's a world famous whatever singer. But in the middle of all of that, perhaps they're not happy. Perhaps they're super happy. Perhaps they're not. Or perhaps, conversely, perhaps they earn a minimum wage and they live in wherever and don't have much materially, but emotionally and spiritually and psychologically, they're killing it.
So that's to do with the story that they're telling themselves.
Well, that's it. It comes down to, the situation or the conversation or the relationship or the moment that you're in, and then what you're telling yourself about that. And that dialogue happens unconsciously all the time.
Yeah.
So where you're telling yourself stories, the story might be snakes are terrifying, the story might be, oh, that guy over there is going to come and attack me, the story might be, Donald Trump's in power, the world's doomed, or whatever it is. but that's just a constant monologue. And sometimes what we've got to do is to question the monologue and go, well, hang on, does that need to be my truth? Does this, because the thinking creates the story creates the experience, and it becomes real. And it's like we've said this before, if there's nobody behind you, but you think somebody is behind you with a big tomahawk, but no one's there, but you believe they're there, then your body will respond, so adrenaline, cortisol, all the hormones, respiration, blood pressure, everything will happen as though it's real. So your experience of stress and drama and anxiety will be real, even though the situation is that there's nobody behind you, because you create the real.
Yeah, and so if we were to sort of attach this to changing bodies and that world, like the people tell themselves a story about their genetics, and that's equaling the reason they are the way they are.
Yeah.
And I've seen people change their bodies even though the genetics aren't the best for what they want.
For sure.
But so is that a story they're telling themselves? So, are you allowing that story to hinder your, I guess, results?
Well, what you're doing is you're allowing that to be the totality of your possibilities. So, for example, if you're what we call in exercise science like an endomorph, which means you're predisposed to carry more body fat and gain fat more easily perhaps than an ecto or mesomorph, right? Doesn't really matter about the terms, but you're more genetically hardwired to do that. Well, that certainly is something, but that doesn't mean that that's a life sentence of obesity. What that means is that you might have to eat a bit differently, or you might have to move a bit differently, or you might need to manage your genetics a little bit more strictly than someone else. But it's just a variable to be negotiated or managed. It's like going, well, I'm 5'11", I'll never be an NBA player. Well, there are lots of players in the NBA who are under 6 foot. Is it harder? It's probably harder for them, but is it impossible? No, it's not. So the thing is that we tell ourselves these stories and we pigeonhole ourselves where we go, well, I'm not the creative one, that's Tommy. Tommy's the funny one. Or I'm not the musical one, that's my sister. Or I could never run a marathon because I'm not athletic. Yeah. So we tell ourselves these stories and put ourselves in these little psychological and emotional pigeonholes, and that becomes the extent and the parameters of the edge of our universe, because that's what we tell ourselves. Whereas, like with me, who is not very talented, but I keep trying new things. You're more talented than me and you do lots of things, and I've written children's books and they got published and they did okay, and I've written grown-ups books and they did all right, and I've done radio and I've done telly, I've done lots of things, because I know that and none of this is to sound egotistical, but just to encourage people to say that, well, when you just go, well, I'll have a go. It might work, it might not work. I might be shit at it, or I might be all right at it. But if I sat back, like I didn't start in radio in a significant way till I was in my mid-30s, and I didn't come from a radio background or a journalism background, and so a lot of it you'd say, well, you're not going to be able to, because I'm not a radio guy. I'm an exercise science guy. Yeah. Or I'm a gym owner, or I'm a sometimes corporate speaker. But when you go, well, forget what your self-limiting beliefs are, which is easier said than done, but just what would you love to do if you had no fear? Yeah. What would you love to do?
And then doing some of that.
Well, and working towards it. Maybe it'll work out, maybe it won't. Yeah. Maybe you'll become the world famous whatever, or maybe you won't, or maybe you'll cure cancer, or maybe you won't, or maybe you'll lose the 15 kilos and keep it off forever, or maybe you won't. Yeah.
So you've got lots of clients you coach. If they're telling themselves a story, like what would you suggest to someone out there to identify the false story that they're telling? Like, how do you do that? Because I don't know how I just came about me going, hang on, what the fuck am I saying in my head? Yeah. Like, is it just stopping and going, write it down on paper?
Yeah, the hard thing is that it's hard. The hard thing is that it's hard. That's fucking amazing coaching, you fucking idiot. The hard thing, the challenge is that it's very difficult for us to be objective about us because we're us.
Yes.
Right? Because, well, how, you don't know what it's like to be around you because you are you.
Yeah.
You've never
Yeah.
sat on this side of the table and looked at you or had a conversation with you. You've never had my experience of you or Amy's experience of you or anyone's experience of you because you're you, right? And so one of the challenges for us is to try to be as much as possible self-aware in that, do I need to think this way? Are these limitations necessary? Is this belief that I have, is this my belief or is this Dad's belief that I've just taken on board? Does this belief serve me or does it sabotage me? This fear, is this fear founded? Is this a sensible fear? Because some fears are sensible, don't dive into the shark pool, that's a good fear. Or is this an irrational, self-limiting fear that I've just taken on that stops me from fulfilling my potential? So it all starts with trying to ask better questions and also acknowledge the fact that the biggest limitation for me quite often is not the situation, circumstance, environment, or potential opportunities, but rather the story that I tell myself about me and about me in this situation, which is back to where we started with the stories.
Yeah.
I meet people all the time and I get frustrated for them because I think, you don't know how talented you are. But maybe you don't have the support or maybe you don't have the confidence or maybe you don't have the background to say, well, like if you've played, say, AFL footy and then someone says, hey, why don't you do a marathon? Then there's a fair chance you'll go, oh, I could probably do that because I've done that. But if you've never done anything like that, even if you've got the genetic potential, the story is, I couldn't do that.
How much does, like the end goal and that thought of achieving that hinder the approach to it in terms of, setting themselves up? Like you can't run a marathon if you've never run 10K.
Sure.
So how much does that sort of, is it scaling it back? Is it bringing it right back to basics?
Yeah, well, quite often, and that's you go, all right, well, what can you do? Okay, so you can't run a marathon tomorrow, of course. Well, what can you do? Can you walk 5Ks? So walk 5Ks. And when that's easier, let's include a little bit of jogging. And then let's do more jogging, less walking. And then let's get to the point where we jog 5Ks. So then you're jogging 5, and then let's build that to 6. And over a year, you train yourself for a marathon. Over a year, you build up to 42 Ks, you drop 30 kilograms. Yeah. You go from 1 out of 10 to 9 out of 10 fitness relative to your potential and your genetic ability and all of those things. So it's all of that. Like I'm working with somebody, I just met with them last week who wants to write a book. They have no idea. Yeah. No idea about distribution, about marketing, about how to structure a book, about how to get a book into bookstores, about publishing, self-publishing, going with a big publisher, online, ebooks, blah, blah. Yeah. So, and they were overwhelmed. And I said, well, you should be not overwhelmed, but it should be all weird to you because you've never done it. So let's start at the beginning. It's like learning a new language. You go, fuck, there are so many words. Well, it's German. There are lots of words. So you go, well, how do I learn German? And you go, well, you just start. And like learning new skills or developing new skills, it's like learning a language. When I went to university at 36, I was the oldest person probably in my year. And it was literally like going to another country because I had no idea of computers. Everyone was 18 pretty much. And I was like a Martian. And the first semester I was so uncomfortable. Second semester I was more comfortable. By the second year, first semester, it was totally normal. Yeah. And the only thing that had changed was me. Yeah. Environment, kids, language, culture, everything the same. I was different, and when I changed, when I was different, then everything was different because I create my experience.
Yeah, still can't use computers.
That's true. When we go up, can you just log on for me? Because that's tricky.
Onto the book face.
Yeah, could you? The book of face.
All right, before I show you this invention, what are 3 questions that we can ask ourselves to, I guess, change our story or better our story to get more success? Yeah,
well, 3 questions. I guess one is, where does this story come from? Is there anything to this? Is there any truth or is there any meat to this? Do my beliefs about this story Are they founded in fear or are they founded in logic? The next one would be, what's something that I can do today to create momentum, right? So what's something that I can do, an action I can take, a decision I can make to start the wheels turning and to start to move in the direction. I guess the last one would be, what am I scared of? Like, or what barrier perhaps do I need to overcome emotionally or psychologically to, I forget the question, but I think all of that was kind of...
Yeah, I think it was 4 for the price of 3 there.
Yeah.
So they're for good things. Yeah, and it's just working out the bullshit one and just calling bullshit in yourself.
But I think also just going, I might fail and that's okay, or I might fuck up, or I might look silly, and it's okay. Like I've done things, lots of things. I've done presentations where I had very recently a standing ovation with 500 people, and it was amazing, and it was like magic. It was like a drug. I'm like, this is awesome, and I just appreciated that moment in time. But then it went, and I've done other gigs which were horrible, and if it was just about the experience, I would never have done another gig. Because I crashed and burned, you know. I've had businesses that worked, and then I've had businesses that didn't work. I've had business meetings which are amazing, and business meetings where I looked like a fuckwit. You know, I've started projects where I've invested time and energy and money, and 6 months into it you go, nah. And then other things that I've almost done as an afterthought that have flourished. But all of that means whatever you think it means. Yeah. If you do something and it doesn't turn into the something that you thought it might, you can go, oh, okay, all right, well, that was an experience, that was an opportunity, that was a lesson, that was a whatever. Somebody else might say, I failed, I'm a dud, I'm not doing that again, I'm going back to my 9 to 5. And then they wake up 50 years later and they're 70 and they go, all right, well, that's me then. Nothing wrong with that if that's what you want to do. Yeah. But if you want to explore your potential, if you want to grow, learn, evolve, adapt and become a better version of you, whatever that means for you, then be okay with fucking up. Yeah. Be okay with not being awesome. Be okay with being a dumbass. Being okay with saying, I don't know. Yeah. It's all right.
Yeah.
The end.
You ready for this?
Oh, yeah.
Don't get weird, but...
What are you doing?
No, don't look under.
What are you doing?
All right.
When you dive under the table and say, don't get weird.
Okay. It's in its box. So I'll give you the box after so you can see what it really is.
Right.
Yep, there you go.
Can I pull it apart?
Yeah, open it up.
Oh, God. Oh, I'm pretty sure I know what this is. Has this been used?
No, it has not been used.
Fucking hell. Is this a tool, a resource for women to be able to urinate standing?
Yes. Here's the box.
Yeah. Oh, it's called She-We. Wow. Yeah. You do have a gift for finding fucking ridiculous stuff. That is
it's super weird.
Well, did you? Why do you have this?
I bought it ages ago to do something with in a video, and I never did it. And so I thought you would very much appreciate this.
I don't have a vagina, but I don't know. Like that would seem to me. I don't want to explore this too much, and I'm not trying to be inappropriate, but I'm just thinking even anatomically.
It's very weird.
But would that not be a bit messy and
I don't know. Well,
uncomfy?
They sell them at music festivals over in in England and Europe. They haven't taken off here in Australia.
So here's my thing though. So you go in your wee, then what do? Just pop it in your pocket.
Back in the container.
Imagine that after you've had 35 wees. It's going to be... Wow, Tom. No. Well, good work by you.
How do you know what it is, by the way?
I've never seen one, but I thought if you're bringing it, it's got to have something to do with something around the groinal region, because
I'm the groin specialist.
You have an obsession with all things dicks, vaginas and bums. So there we are. Well, that's we
fine.
could give that away. I don't think we.
I don't think anyone wants that.
That's true.
Cut.